let's go take the Surron out. I didn't expect to be gone long because I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cold. You know what? Let's take my actual clothes. This will be better. Because why not? Cops around here also don't like me, so we shall see how that goes.
In-depth quote-unquote review of my 2025 Surron Hyperbee. This is just the ride that I did to get to 300 miles, so you can see how I did that while I talk about exactly what I think of the bike. So originally, I forget when it was, maybe March or April, I picked up this bike from my local power sports dealership. It was listed for $27.99, the same as a Honda 110. And I think that was a fair price. Out the door, it was either $3,200 or $3,300 USD, of course. So that wasn't too bad on the price. They had this one instead of the Light BS that I could have gotten. That was a little bit bigger, but I didn't really want last year's model when I knew I could pay for a new one, so I saved out to hold out for this. And I didn't get the Light BX because I think for as much as this is, I didn't want to pay double that just to have a slightly bigger bike when I know for a fact that I would get pulled over by cops. As it is on this bike, sometimes I get pulled over, sometimes they just look at me funny and then keep going. But today, instead of going on the street risking getting pulled over, I went through this little area of trees which had a bunch of leaves on it and whatnot, which made riding a little bit difficult. However, I will say, for 300 miles in and doing some street and dirt, I have a lot of tread left on my tires. It's almost look like they're still brand new, which is a really nice fact for me because that means I don't have to worry about replacing them yet or for a while. Now, fingers crossed I don't pop anything, but you know what? If that happens, we'll get to there. Now, I have a few complaints. So, first off, for one of my complaints is that the stock bike, in my opinion, kind of looks a little ugly. I picked the color I did because I liked it the best out of my options. I added the white handguards on there because when I'm on the trails, oftentimes there's trees that hit me, and it's a lot better to have that hit the tree first than straight up my hand. Because I have worn just a t-shirt out there and got whacked in the arm and it hurt and it left some marks. But moving on, some other complaints is that when you're in mode 3, the battery dies really quick. I often only get a 30 to 45 minute ride out of that. But if I'm on mode 1 or 2 and just taking it nice and easy on the track or trails and enjoy the scenery as well, I can usually last at least an hour, and I'm only at 50% from 100. Another complaint is how long the battery takes to charge. It claims it charges pretty quick, but to be honest, in my opinion, it doesn't. I plug it into a plug outside of my house, just right outside, and it isn't terrible, but once it gets to about 75%, that 75% to 100 literally just takes forever to charge. It takes a good probably 2 hours on that alone, but I haven't run it down to 0, but about 10% up to 75, it does pretty good and pretty quick, so no complaints there. Another complaint I would say is the lack of aftermarket parts. If I wanted to put a seat cover on there's one on Amazon and it's not very good. And for the grips, I ended up actually finding some pro taper grips, but it's taken a long time. Same with finding some new foot pegs that would actually work, which I did post a video about that, both of those things, which they are on my page. I also didn't mean to scare her. I hope I didn't. I was just trying to get back, you know? But some positives about this bike, the screen is really easy to read. I think despite being 5'2" and the bike still being small for me, I actually stood on it pretty good. My knees don't really knock, and with it being lightweight, only 85 pounds, it's only a little bit lighter than me. So it's pretty easy to move around and maneuver to the point where it's not like dangerous. I also like how the bike is designed itself. I think it's a very clean look, although I dislike the coloring because it's a lot of stickers that one of them is actually peeling already. Another positive is that it's super easy to clean. If I want to walk all the dirt off, all I have to do is set it outside in the stand I have for it, and then just get the hose and rinse it off. I typically will take the battery out first, and then, put some towels in there to make sure nothing gets too damaged, but besides that, it's really easy and quick to clean. I think max is probably 20 minutes, and most of that is just getting the supplies out and then putting them back up. Now, as for the miles, honestly, I haven't noticed a battery getting worse at all with those 300 miles. These 300 miles have served me well on this bike, and I honestly think that it is gonna last me a good 3 to 600 more with no issues as well. The only issues I've had are my throttle, which one of them I was trying to redo the grips originally, and it just did not work. So I had to take that in to get fixed, and then they fixed it. But then I was practicing my wheelies, and the grip got pushed in too far, so I had to get that, and I did that one myself, thankfully. But honestly, it's not that bad. It was a pretty easy fix, and I'm pretty sure the bike comes with a tool. I have so many small ones that I've gotten over the years from bike and car stuff, I'm honestly not sure. But this is actually where I hit 300 miles, so I stopped with a few videos about that, as you can see. And you can see here the bike is actually pretty small, so it's pretty nice. Like standing up, it's crazy how it actually is. And I know a lot of people don't actually think it's a Surron, which it's a little annoying, but it is. It's everywhere all over the bike. That would be pretty hard to fake. So pros and cons, that's pretty much it. Another pro, I guess, is that it's small enough that on the street, sometimes they don't think it's like actual motorcycle or whatever, and I don't get stopped. Cons, the ones who know that it's like a dirt bike that it's marketed as, I do get pulled over. But besides that, I love this bike, and I'm so excited for the next few hundred miles. It served me so well. Any crashes and whatnot, which I have a video on a crash. That was my worst one, and then I had some in the dirt that weren't too bad. The bike is great. I love that it has that kill switch. I usually keep it around my wrist just because if I fall and I am in mode 3, I don't want it to fall on the throttle and burn my motor up, because it has done that and it started to smell pretty quick, but I've had no issues ever since then. And the remote for this bike is great. I have no issues at all switching it into modes or anything like that. I haven't tried out the mic feature on it yet. I just have no need for it. But honestly, if you're looking at buying a Surron Hyperbee, I would say do it. They're a ton of fun. It's like a Honda 110, just a nice little pit bike to have, and it's the best thing I could ask for. I love this thing. The get up and go is so quick, and yeah, people don't really see you, but I mean, it's fun. And if you just want a bike to have fun on, to mess around with, this is the one for you. It's electric, so there's almost no maintenance, no gas, no mixing stuff for 2 or 4 stroke, and it's amazing. I would definitely say buy this bike. I haven't had any issues on it, and 300 miles, I say that's pretty good. No need to fix tread, nothing super damaged or anything like that. So I love it. And that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more.